Okay, let me see if I can get some better visions in helping me predict the 10 qualifiers from semi-final 2. Hang on, I'm getting something here. Is it a woman riding a microphone of giant proportions? Is it a man floating in the air while singing some lovely operatic notes? Or is it a man of milkshakes? No, hang on, wait, it's just a moose dry humping while listening to his favourite jazz song again. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the ESC Harry channel. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Today, we will be predicting the 10 qualifiers from semi-final 2 in Eurovision 2025. That's right, just like I did with semi-final 1, I will be going through the 10 countries I think will qualify from semi-final 2, from most likely to qualify to least likely. Now to clarify again, this is not necessarily the order I think they will actually finish. For example, the 7th most likely song to qualify is not necessarily the song I think will finish in 7th. However, this is more like my mini odds in terms of a percentage from 0 to 100 as to the chances overall of them finishing inside the top 10 of semi-final 2. And as I mentioned with semi-final 1, I did do a somewhat prediction video a couple weeks ago in my 5 shocking moments that could happen in Eurovision. As I mentioned, those things are scenarios that could happen, but not necessarily the most likely. So while they might play into my predictions, it's not necessarily a certainty. And I can tell you for certain in semi-final 2, there is a bit of a contradiction with one country in particular. People that have seen that video might know which one it is. But yeah, overall, this semi-final in particular compared to semi-final 1, for me, was much harder to narrow down to 10 qualifiers. For me, there is loads more songs that could qualify, and I very much struggled, especially near the end, picking the final couple that I think will make the final. But I've done my best, and of course, I can always change my predictions after I see staging, flow of the show, all that kind of stuff that we're not going to get until rehearsals start in Basel. But before we get into the prediction, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it, subscribe if you're new to ESC Harry, and comment down below, what are your 10 predicted qualifiers for semi-final 2? With that being said, let's get into the countries. So I'm going to say now, my top 3 in this prediction are pretty much locks. They are going to be in the final, in my opinion. If any of these fail to qualify, I would be very, very shocked. Like, really, really shocked. Put it that way. These are 98, 99% likely to qualify, in my opinion. With that being said, the first most likely song I think to qualify from semi-final 2 is Finland. Yes, just like in semi-final 1 where I started with a Nordic country as most likely to qualify, I am doing the same for semi-final 2. I mean, truly, I don't think I need to do much analysis on why I think Erika Vikman with the song Ich Komme is going to qualify for the final. Very fun, upbeat and catchy dance bop, full of memorable staging moments if the UMK performance is anything to go by. And of course, it is closing the semi-final as well. So yeah, I think it goes without saying, just like Erika, maybe during the performance, a spot in the final for Finland is coming. My second most likely country to qualify from semi-final 2 is Israel. Life will go on, everyone cries, don't cry alone. Now, truthfully, this one could easily be the most likely to qualify from semi-final 2. I just personally didn't want to start off with this one. I'm sure many of you will understand the reasons why. But yeah, a combination of great vocals from the singer, high televote support for various reasons, and €1 million roughly in budget for various things such as stagings or other things that they used last year, will likely see this sail through fairly easily into the final. The third most likely country to qualify from semi-final 2 is Austria. second in the odds to win the whole thing is JJ with Wasted Love. The only reason I have him below Finland and Israel in chances to qualify for the final is purely because I like Finland and Israel's chances with the televote a little bit more with Austria, but that's just a little bit. But yes, as I mentioned, this is one of the three I think is a dead certainty to make it into the final, with a combination of really strong vocals that we have seen through the pre-parties, a high quality entry in terms of the song itself, and like Cyprus in semi-final 1, this is going to be staged by Sergio Hayen, who did Bambi's staging last year, and that was incredible. So if they can replicate the quality of that, Austria, by a country mile, is going to be in the final and potentially even win the whole thing. But this is for semi-final, and for now, they're definitely going to qualify from semi-final 2. So genuinely, from here on out, I could see every song I'm going to mention here not qualify. Most of them are unlikely to not qualify and would be shocks, absolutely, but there is a world where these don't qualify. That being said, my fourth most likely country to qualify from semi-final 2 is Lithuania. Now, a lot of people would probably not have Lithuania this high in terms of who is most likely to qualify for the final from this semi. And full disclosure, Lithuania is my winner of Eurovision 2025 at the moment. So is there a chance that some bias is playing into this prediction? Yeah, probably. I can't lie and say that it won't factor into it at all. But that being said, I do genuinely believe Lithuania have a really strong chance of making the final with Katarsis and Tavo Arkis. For starters, it is in a great running order spot in the last spot in the first half. Katarsis have also shown that they are able to translate the meaning and the storytelling of this performance through their staging and LEDs at their national final. If they can translate that onto the stage in Basel, then that will be a massive boost to their qualification chances. On top of that, it is the only song in this semi-final that has an indie rock feel, and of course, those Tavos at the end are going to be heard loud in the audience. I'm sure they will all chant those along, and hopefully the audience at home will also join in. And going from a non-song perspective here as well, looking at Lithuania's qualification record, they have qualified for the final every single year since 2021. The one time that they haven't qualified since 2018 was with Run With The Lions in 2019, and even that song did qualify through the televote. Now that is partly because Lithuania have a great diaspora, which they can tap into in this semi-final with the likes of the UK voting. But I don't think they necessarily need to do that to make it into the top 10 here. And with a combination of song quality, stage quality, and Lithuania's track record of getting into the top 10 of semi-final televotes, sees them fourth in most likely to qualify from semi-final 2. My fifth most likely qualifier from semi-final 2 is Czechia. Now, of all the picks so far, this one is the one that mainly comes down to song quality and its standout factor in where the running order has put it. Adonix with Kiss Kiss Goodbye is a modern, slick pop song with a combination of a deeper meaning message, but also a fun dance break in between, which some people are debating whether it works or not. That's not a conversation for this time. And hopefully a to-be-seen stage package which will combine a lot of things that will appeal to a broad audience that can help them get votes from across every voting country. Now, there is a chance Czechia failed to qualify for the final just because of being Czechia. They do sometimes struggle to get televotes when needed. However, in recent years, they do have a really good qualification record, with only last year them failing to qualify by finishing in 11th. So for me, Adonix is better than Aiko. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I think most people agree, and hopefully that should mean Czechia will send something that get them back into the final on the Saturday. My sixth most likely country to qualify for the final is Greece. Oh, I really want to put this higher. I really, really do. But I think anyone that's seen the national final performance knows there is something that's giving me cause for concern. The one thing I can say with certainty is Pamgaea with Astalomata is a phenomenal song, potentially the best Balkan entry we have this year. Sorry, Albania fans. But it combines an incredible vocal with an ethnic yet modern feel that doesn't feel boring at any listen for me. Like, I still listen to this all the time and I think it is amazing. And it has been given a decent running order spot as well, performing near the end of the first half, right before Lithuania, which will be a nice contrast for Greece. The main concern I have with its qualification chances is the staging. We all saw in the Greek national final that Pamgaea can definitely hit the notes and perform this vocally fantastically. However, the actual stage performance itself did leave a little bit to be desired in terms of energy and power. That being said, Pamgaea has said in interviews that they have listened and seen the feedback on the national final performance, and they are taking that on board to hopefully elevate this staging and improve it for Basel and give a staging that is worthy of the song quality itself. So with that in mind, factoring in everything, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they will improve their staging and get Greece back into the final. The 7th most likely song to qualify from semi-final 2 is Australia. When I say sweet, sweet, you say vote, vote, sweet, sweet, vote, vote, sweet, sweet, vote, vote. Yes, I am losing my mind. How can you tell? That's right, I'm predicting Gojo with Milkshake Man to get Australia back into the final after failing to reach it last year. While there are a lot of fun and quirky entries in this semi-final, Gojo stands out from his look, his personality, and just the overall theming and styling. And they will have to be memorable for audiences as Australia are opening the semi-final. So while that might give me a little bit of cause for concern performing so early, also considering the fact that Australia can sometimes, like Czechia, struggle to get televotes, I just hope that the EBU picking them to open the show means that the staging itself will match the theming and the fun nature of the song, and it will provide something memorable enough to see Australia get into the final on Saturday. The 8th most likely qualifier from semi-final 2 is Malta. Serving. Okay, fine. I said Malta are going to qualify. Are you happy now, guys? Are you going to stop leaving negative comments on these videos? Or are you still going to call me a cunt? It's going to be the last one, isn't it? But yes, as many of you will be aware, in my 5 shocking moments that could happen video, I did say that Malta could non-qualify. However, while I don't think that Malta is a certainty, as many people are predicting them to be, I still think that they will end up in the top 10 of the televote for this semi-final. The main thing that has convinced me of this is not necessarily the fan perception. I do believe that there will still be a divide between how Euro fans see this song and the general voting audience. That being said, the main thing that has convinced me is the pre-parties. Throughout every pre-party, you can see Mariana Conte is progressing in confidence, and you can see her creating iconic moments throughout every performance, whether it be her outfit or the fact that Eurovision acts have joined her on stage with the yoga balls. True story, I was watching this performance at London Eurovision Party. As you can imagine, I wasn't enjoying it for most of it, but even seeing some of the Eurovision acts getting on stage, joining her for the final bit, did get a smile and a laugh out of me. Again, are you happy now? However, looking at the bigger picture here, what those iconic moments showed me is, despite Malta having to remove the swear word, and yes, it is a swear word, stop commenting down below that it is not a swear word. We all know what Mariana is trying, or was trying to say. Despite that, she is able to make this package memorable. And as long as she does something of a similar ilk and iconic status on the stage in Basel, mixing that in with her really good vocals, and I've never made a secret, her vocals are fantastic, I do reluctantly say that Malta will break their 3-year non-qualification streak and just get back into the final. And I mean just. I do genuinely think this will finish like between 7th and 10th. I do not think this will be a certainty. Okay, from this point on, this is where it gets really, really tricky. Every song that I haven't mentioned, bar maybe like 2, could easily qualify, and could easily not qualify for the final. These are the two slots that will likely change when I see rehearsals or, you know, the flow of the show, various things like that in Basel. However, I have to give you two more countries now, and my ninth most likely to qualify from this semi-final is Denmark. This is risky. This is really risky because we all know about Denmark's non-qualification streak going back to before the pandemic was the last time they qualified for the final in 2019. But there's just something about this entry which I think will get them over the line. Now, maybe I am a bit biased here because I personally love the song and want this in the final. And Sissel, the artist herself, is absolutely incredible. I cannot tell you a single Eurovision fan that does not love Sissel. She is an icon and she is the moment. But one other thing that she is an amazing singer. We've seen through the Dance Melody Grand Prix, while there were a lot of negatives about her stage performance, one positive was her vocals. She hit every note pitch perfect in that performance, and there's no reason why she can't do that in Basel. That being said, as I mentioned earlier, the main thing that does need to change is the staging. But Sissel does know this. They are scrapping the staging from the national final and hopefully coming up with something better, bigger, just wow. That can hopefully get enough votes and put them into the final. As I mentioned, this is not a certainty that the staging will be elevated. And what you've got to consider also is they're in a half that is filled with girl bops. So Sissel will need to make sure that in some way she stands out. But as long as the staging is good, I do think that the style of this song being a fairly modern pop song that will be familiar to a lot of audiences, combining with the amazing vocals and just the nature of the televote preferring girl bops compared to other genres, hopefully means that Denmark will be back in the final. Again, I really hope this happens because I want it for Denmark and I want it for Sissel. Come on, Sissel, you can do it. And then there was one spot left, and yeah, this is hard. This is hard.
That's what she said.
To go through my non-qualification rankings, or at least a few of them, in 16th most likely, so least likely to qualify for the final, I have Georgia. In 15th, I have Montenegro. In 14th, I have Ireland, and in 13th, I have Latvia. Now, full disclosure, I could absolutely see Ireland or Latvia qualifying for the final with amazing staging. Georgia and Montenegro, a little bit less so for various factors, but I think there is at least 14 songs here that could make the final. That being said, only 10 of them can, and for my final spot, it is between these three countries. It is Armenia, Luxembourg, or Serbia. Now, I have gone back and forth on these three. I've chopped and changed the order many times throughout this process because this is hard. It's really hard, and I know it means literally naff all, but I still want to get it right for my own personal pride. So here we go. The 10th most likely country to qualify for the final, and the last one in my predictions making it, is Armenia. Now, this is an unpopular choice. I am fully aware that this is an unpopular choice to say Armenia is going to make the final this year. I almost switched it at the last minute with Luxembourg, I have to be honest. So full disclosure, Serbia is my 12th most likely to qualify for the final. But in the end, I have stuck with Parg and Survivor for Armenia to take my final spot in the predictions for semi-final 2 qualifiers. Now again, like the likes of Lithuania and Denmark, this could easily be biased because Armenia is currently in my 3rd place. I effing love this song. I think it is absolutely fantastic, and I do really want to see this in the final. I thought, I'll just be honest with you guys. There's no point saying there might not be bias contributing to my predictions here because regardless of how much I try and take it out, it absolutely could be a factor. That being said, I do think there is some stuff with Armenia that people aren't necessarily talking about that can get them into the final. For starters, while this is not the only rock-based song in the semi-final, Lithuania also covers that field, this is the only pop rock song. This has a very familiar sound to a lot of people, and for rock fans, I actually think they'll gravitate a little bit more towards this one, especially if they're more a casual rock fan and just like stuff like guitars, anthemic notes, drums, a lot of the stuff that I like about this song, and I would classify myself as more a casual rock fan rather than hardcore rock. On top of that, Armenia have a quietly really good reputation at good staging at the contest recently. Take a look at Snap, take a look at Future Lover, take a look at Jacko. All three of these performances had really good stagings that elevated where they could finish from their pre-contest predictions. And I do think a similar thing can happen with Armenia. Now, this is being staged by Marvin Diekman, a Eurovision regular when it comes to staging. He is a little bit hit or miss, but he has previously done staging such as Snap from Rosalind, so he does have a bit of a track record with Armenia. And I think at the very least, the theming that was seen in the national final is a good base concept that he can work with to really elevate this song, get a massive prop on stage like they did in the national final, and make the big moments shine. And this is not just me hoping that all this happens. I think it could happen. I do see a world where Armenia has really good staging and shoots up the odds after the rehearsals. And on top of that, why I have this ahead of Serbia and Luxembourg, my 12th and 11th respectively, does vary. Serbia do have a really good qualification record in recent years. However, they have only just finished in 10th place the last couple of years with songs that were more popular than Prince with Mila. So I just see him just missing out slightly. And with Luxembourg, it is a little bit of an unknown when it comes to the televote as to whether they only got in last year due to their return status or the fact they closed the semi-final. And on top of that, while I like the theming of this song, there's just something about it at the pre-parties that hasn't clicked with audiences as much as I would like it to. So I just worry, especially in a girl bop heavy half of the semi-final, Luxembourg will be the one to fade into the background compared to some other bigger wower moments in Malta, Finland, and Denmark. So to conclude, yes, this could absolutely be wishful thinking. However, I do think there will be enough of an audience within the casual voters across the world. Remember, universal sound, casual voters from across the world, I think will all vote for this a little bit and enough to just get Armenia into the final for the 4th year in a row. So anyway, those were my 10 countries I think are going to qualify from semi-final 2 in Eurovision 2025. Do you agree with any of them? Do you agree with all of them? Probably not all of them, almost certainly not all of them. But let me know down in the comments below, who do you think is going to qualify from this semi-final? I'd love to see if any of you actually get it spot on when it comes in Basel. But remember, my prediction is not necessarily the correct one. It is just my prediction. And as I mentioned earlier, it could change after I see rehearsals and flow of the show. This is not a final semi-final 2 prediction by any means. I've said prediction far too many times there. But yes, my words mean very little in terms of if these songs will actually qualify. So don't stress yourself out too much. Just relax if I've not got your favorite doing as well as you think it could. But once again, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe if you're new to ESC Harry so you do not miss any Eurovision 2025 content. God, it is getting very close to the actual show itself. I am incredibly excited and I hope you guys are too. And all that's left to say is I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you guys next time for another video on this channel. Take care, guys.